In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Hello everybody, how are you doing? We're doing great by the mercy and grace of Almighty Allah. My name's NA Saqib. I'm your IELTS mentor, IELTS trainer. Additionally, I've been also teaching the students of spoken English for the last 20 years at the platform of Genius Institute, Lahore. My today's lecture would be about listening subtest of the IELTS and particularly about its smart start. How to start doing listening practice smartly. So let's get started. I always recommend my students to start doing listening practice with the tape scripts given at the end of each IELTS practice book. There are lots of books available in the market which are IELTS practice books, and in each book there are 4 tests, and there are 4 full-fledged tests which contain listening, speaking, reading and writing tests. So my point is, don't start doing the testing right from the beginning. Start with the training sessions. And now, what are those training sessions? Students have a lot of problems actually in the ear training. Our students are not very much familiar with the foreign accents actually. So they're not familiar with the format of the text as a matter of fact. So in 4 parts, you know that in the first 2 parts there are social contexts being used by the examiner. In the next 2 parts, more about training and education is being inducted by the examiner. So they're familiar with the pattern of the test along with its accent. So ear training is needed. As I told you that there are lots of fault lines in our education system. So students are very much familiar with writing and reading, but they're not familiar with listening and speaking. So that's the problem. They need a lot of ear training because they haven't been exposed to the foreign accents. So that's why I recommend my students to start doing a bit of training before going for the real testing practice. And I would say that simply the students who are above average even, they may face lots of troubles in listening. So if they are having difficulty in understanding a conversation during practice, or a distractor is giving them the tough time, so it's better for them to start doing the training, not the real test practice. So they can start it later on when they have finished their training. I would recommend them, even the above average students, to go back to basics. What to do? To take advantage of the tape scripts given at the end of each Cambridge textbook. Now, what is a tape script? Actually, a tape script is simply the text version of the recording you hear. When you are hearing actually all the text, that is, as a matter of fact, written in front of you in the tape scripts. The real recording and the written text, they are the same, absolutely the same. So what you gotta do, it is basically reading and listening to the same thing at the same time. You are listening and you are reading the same thing. In this way, you will be thoroughly familiar with the pattern of the text and with the methodology of the listening practice tests. So the best way to take advantage is to keep your eyes on the text and ears on the tape scripts. There is a role of fingers as well. Run your fingers across the text while listening and make sure you are simultaneously reading and listening. So you got to do all these things at the same time: listening, reading, and scrolling your fingers across the text. In this way, you will thoroughly be familiar with the format of the test and with the accents used. There is a multiplicity of the accents. There are some Americans, there are some British, some Canadians, some even sometimes Europeans are having different accents. So the real reason to giving this training is to make you first of all familiar with the accents and the pattern of the test. You got to pay some special attention on what? There are some underlined words, and those are the answers, as a matter of fact. So pay special attention to the answers, how the answers are being spoken, because in the real test session, you will be exposed to the text. There will not be any answers, there will not underline text and all that stuff what you're doing right now. So take advantage of this exercise and be familiar with the method of giving the answers by the speakers. So underlined words are the answers. So pay special attention to those words in particular. And moreover, you must be familiar with and you must focus rather on the stress, rhythm, intonation. Intonation is the rise and fall of the tone, and accents that you hear, so that you may be familiar with the format, style, and the content of the test. For starters, I always say that you must have this kind of training at least for 8 tests. 2 books. You must give this kind of training session to 2 books. And in each book there are 4 tests, or in 2 books there are 8 tests. So, give at least training kind of practice to 2 books, and you must be exposed to this kind of training with 8 tests, as a matter of fact. And last but not the least, this training session, as I told you, that will familiarize you with the modus operandi of the test, with the ABC and XYZ of the test. So you will be given an advantage. You will get an advantage of being thoroughly familiar with the basics of the IELTS listening test. So that's very important to have a smart start when you're going to start your listening subtest of the IELTS. I recommend you to start your testing after your training is complete. So that's it. Thank you very much indeed, and God bless you all. I hope you would have benefited from this excellent lecture about smart start of the listening subtest of the IELTS. God bless you all. Thank you very much indeed. I'll see you in another brand new video. Until then, bye-bye.